Fellow Nigerians, this is Onu of Onyx English. Now, in the past 3 weeks or thereabouts, there has been a discussion around the pronouncement of the Honorable Minister of Education, reminding us or Nigerians that the age for writing the terminal exams, that is SSC for NECO and WAEC, is 18 years and all of that. So he said it, and that his pronouncement has sparked off reactions from different quarters. Many people have, bared their mind on the issue. That's fine. But I think it is important that those of us who are classroom teachers, who are the ones involved in the process of implementing the educational system in Nigeria, should also make commentary about it. And so I'm here to do that. Now, first of all, we can see that the UBE program in Nigeria, of course, is well conceived and well, intended. But whether the UBE program is achieving the desired objective, of course, is a question for another day. And I want to start it from here. And the question of whether the UB is achieving the desired goals or objectives is what has led to this issue now. Because over the time, we observed from the field that the government and the governmental agencies involved have not really taken time to evaluate, to see if this process or this scheme is achieving desired results. So that is one shortcoming of that project, of that scheme. And that is why over time, with other factors which I will enumerate here, has led to people, the school, those who are in the school system, the teachers, the private school owners and all of that, to carefully and tactfully keep away from that good project. Now ask me how. Now, let's start from the point of the government. Now, over time, the government granted licenses to mainstream private sector operators to establish private schools. Of course, that's a good idea. But are these private schools properly monitored? Of course, government and the appropriate authorities will answer that question. So, their failure to monitor and ensure compliance into the rules by these core private sector operators of schools is a factor that has led to so many things. For instance, if you go to a private school today, they start from what you call kindergarten and nursery and all of that. Now, we now get to primary 1, you hear them tell you that a child in primary 1 is using primary 2 book. And so a child in primary 2, of course, uses primary, 3 book. And it continues like that until you get to primary 5. Then in primary 5, it means that the child in primary 5 should use primary 6 book. And so because the parents too are conscious of the high cost of paying school fees, as a result again of government inability to maintain our own or their own public schools, primary and secondary, because the parents are Nigerians who are trying to minimize the cost, the money they spend on these private schools, they will encourage such a child to write the entrance exam to secondary school from primary 5. And so today, if you go to those private schools, primary 6 is non-existent in most cases. And where they exist, maybe few students are in those classes. So that's a very serious factor there. So eventually, primary 6 class is skipped in most of these private schools. And when they get to GSS1, they continue like that. So, but even at that, some parents whose children show signs of being intelligent would even prefer that their children write the entrance exam into secondary school at primary 4. So we have lost 1 year in that process. And then if the children manages to get to class 5 or what we call SS2 in schools, some of them may be tempted to write external GCE exam. And if by adventure they're able to make the required 6 credits for university, some of them will cut off SS3 class and want to proceed to university. Now, if you check this timing, you will observe that the sixth year for primary school, 1 year has been lost. The 6th year for secondary school, another 1 year has been lost. So we'll now have 5 years in primary school and 5 years in secondary school. And so you see a child of 16 writing SSC exam, a child of 16 writing the UTME exam and all that. So that's where the problem actually is. Then also, let me also speak about the environment, the harsh business environment these private schools are operating in. These schools are struggling to, break even. Many of them spend heavily to run the schools, especially in the area of power. So because of that, they tend to cut costs, they tend to minimize expenses. So, and these parents who are Nigerians are also trying to reduce costs of the cost they spend in sending children to school. So everybody is trying to cut costs, and so the result of the fact that the school owners, the parents are cutting costs, and then the school year and the child's maturity, which is the argument of the government in the first place, will also suffer. So eventually, the whole thing goes back to the government, because there is no supervision of these private schools, and economic situation is also difficult. Times are hard, and these private schools owners too sometimes are not, let me use the word fair, because they also charge exorbitant fees just to provide that educational service. So also at the level of employment, at a point in Nigerian history between 1998 to around 2010 or thereabout, 2008 or thereabout, when there was banking reform in Nigeria, we observed that also employment, the sector, banking sector and other sectors are putting age restrictions on the employment age of Nigerians. A bank will tell you we need a student, a bank or a staff of 25 years and who has at least 2 or 3 years or 2 years experience upon graduation. So all of these are the factors that are making both the parents, the schools, and all of us to run around way to ensure that a child finishes school as early as possible. So, in summary, therefore, the way forward is for government to live up to its responsibilities, supervise the schools, make the economy stable for business to flourish, and then children development and parents too should be advised not to be too economic about their children education. So if we do all of this, I think our students will go through the process of 633 education and graduate at 18, go to university, spend 4 or 5 years, and come back at 22, 23, and go for national service, and then still be young and live their vibrant life.